Most men fail because they are afraid to do this. They are afraid to do this one thing which will change everything, and that is do whatever it takes. Okay? Do whatever it takes. Sounds simple to say, not so easy to do. When you go into recovery from alcohol or drug addiction, one of the questions that they tend to ask you is, are you prepared to go to any lengths? Are you prepared to go to any lengths? Okay? Why do they ask that question? Because you have to, in a situation where you've been addicted to a noxious, toxic substance or even behavior pattern, you must be prepared. It's going to kill you, okay? In the end, it's going to kill you. That's where it leads, right? So you've got to be prepared to do anything and everything in order to get yourself out of that situation, okay? There is no choice. And in recovery from drink and drug addiction and stuff, they will talk about something they call the gift of desperation, okay? Most people, when they hit that level, right, enough bad stuff has happened to them that they have this gift of desperation, okay? And they are prepared. They are prepared to do anything it takes, right? They are prepared to go to any lengths. Are you? And I'm talking here, as usual, about your dating life, but also other aspects of life, right? Your career, I'm not going to walk under that thing. It won't aesthetically look good. I'm talking about your career. I'm talking about your wealth accumulation. I'm talking about your social life. I'm talking about your general experience of life on the planet, you know? We talked before about if you're living in a small town, it's kind of boring, right? There are no dating opportunities, there are no career opportunities, but you stay there because of comfort, right? Are you prepared to go to any lengths geographically? Why not move to Venezuela? I don't recommend that, but you know what I'm saying? Why not move somewhere that's going to be more interesting, that's going to be culturally richer, and where there might be more opportunities for you, all right? Maybe the cost of living is lower, okay? So you can have a better life. I was watching a documentary the other day about British people in Thailand, and they were interviewing these British people, and the guy was saying, you know, I know people back at home who they're struggling, you know, they're living in their parents' house, they're struggling to move out because of the cost of housing over here and all that. So I just moved to Thailand, right? Cost of living is so much cheaper here. I can do all this cool stuff, and I can enjoy a far greater, richer experience of life living in Thailand than I could back home in Humberside or wherever the guy was from, all right? Really important stuff, you know? And you've got to respect people like that. You've got to respect, I mean, you know, I'm not a huge Thailand fan necessarily, but you've got to respect somebody who is prepared to alter the fundamentals of their life, where you live. You know, you've been brought up in England, you've been brought up in the UK. That's all you know culturally. And then to move to a very foreign, exotic country because it makes sense financially, because it makes sense in terms of you enjoying a richer tapestry of existence than you would do back home. That's massive, okay? Why can that guy do it and you can't? So in terms of the dating equation, we can take it back to as simple a thing as, are you prepared to approach and engage with people that you don't know? Are you prepared to go up and talk to strangers and start conversations with them that may lead to getting a phone number and getting a date, okay? Are you or not? Most people aren't, okay? Especially in the age of smartphones, especially in the age of social media, especially in the age of dating apps, even though we see that the dating apps are losing market share, the dating apps are losing revenue, they're losing followers, etc., etc. So even that is being closed off as an avenue now, it seems. I mean, it won't be closed off totally, but they seem to be becoming less popular. So what do you do then? Because we've been trained as a society to sit on our phones, to sit in comfort, as I was talking about in a different video or a different episode, and hope that something's going to work out, hope that something is going to fall in our lap. The hack, okay, the hack that works still in 2025 in terms of having a better dating life, in terms of having a better social life, in terms of having more success generally, in terms of wealth accumulation, business projects and so on, is actually being able to go and talk to other human beings. And it's becoming an increasingly rare skill. Fewer and fewer of us can do it. Fewer and fewer of us have the balls to even try, to even consider doing it. But that is the thing that is going to make the difference, and that's why we still teach it. That's why we still teach what used to be called cold approach, okay, which basically means talking to people you don't know. The reason we teach it is because it underpins and it informs every other skill that you're going to need. Because even if you were meeting people via the dating apps, okay, fine, but you've still got to actually then meet them in person, all right? How do you come across in person? Are you somebody who is confident and magnetic and able to engage, or are you a bit of a boring flannel, okay? If you're a bit of a boring flannel, the best way to combat that is to get into a lot of different interactions with a lot of different random people, push your comfort zone, put yourself into situations that feel uncomfortable, and do it time and time and time again. But that can feel like a thankless task, okay? That can feel like a very thankless task to a lot of people, because we're addicted to comfort, as I've said before, and people are afraid to reinvent themselves, as I said before, and people are not prepared to go to any lengths. People are not prepared to do whatever it takes. But imagine for a second a world which used to exist where there was no other way of dating, there was no other way of meeting romantic partners or really meeting friends or anybody apart from actually going up and talking to them in person, actually going up and engaging with them in real life. What would you do then? You know? What would you do then? You'd be completely screwed. Okay? That world is unlikely to ever return. In fact, it's impossible for that world to return, I would conjecture, but nevertheless, it's an interesting thought experiment, isn't it? The only reason, so now we all hide behind the illusion of technology, the illusion that this dating app or this AI prompt is going to give us some great chat up lines that are going to magically work and it's all going to be fantastic. We hide behind this technological illusion which doesn't really bear fruit in reality, okay? Because in reality, you're still stuck in the same paradigm. You're still the guy who turns up on the date and he can't think what to say, and the interactions feel awkward, and you don't feel like you're really being yourself. You don't feel like you say something wrong and then it messes up, and then you're upset for ages and you don't go out for ages and you kind of hide in your bedroom and all the rest of it, right? You need to step out of that, but the way to step out of that is by being prepared to do whatever it takes, okay? And to be persistent as well. Like, caveat, I'm not talking about with one individual woman here, I'm just talking about in general. You've got to be persistent in practicing these social skills, because these social skills really are the key to absolutely everything, okay? And most of us lack them. Most of us lack them. And that's only going to get worse, all right? It's only going to get worse because of the speed of technology and the way things are developing, particularly with AI and so on, and the connectivity across the world. But it's also going to get worse because we've all trained ourselves. We are now, right? It's ongoing. We are training ourselves not to be good at communicating with other people. But that is the single hack. That is the single thing that actually does make the difference, okay? So this is important stuff, and you've got to think, how badly do I want it, right? How badly do I want to change my life? If you're not that bothered, okay, fair enough. But if you do want to make changes, and probably most of us do, then we have to think, all right, well, I actually want this thing quite badly. What am I prepared to do? What am I prepared to sacrifice? What emotions, what negative emotions am I prepared to feel in order to make this thing happen, okay? Most people shy away from it, but not you, or you don't have to anyway. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Do subscribe, do give me a like, do write a comment, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.